I don't feel like I have a good joke to start this one. There's an Only Hope joke in there someplace, but I don't know what it is. Hey, hello guys. Hi, hello. Bonjour. Guten Tag is not correct. Willkommen, maybe? Sure, yeah. Hey gang, it is Cheyenne. Hi, thanks so much for swinging by. If you are new here, my name is Cheyenne Jazz Wise. I am a seamstress, costumer, toy collector, nerd person, and this is the place where all of the stuff in my brain gets vomited out onto the internet. Okay, so it has been a crazy couple of weeks. It's been really, really busy with work. It has been very busy with costume stuff, literally out of frame. I have one big build that's half done over there that you guys will get a video about at some point, hopefully soon. I have two Barbie things that are over on the table that need to get worked on, and I have just added a new project on that is now going to supersede all of that. I know how that sounds, but hear me out, okay? So, the other day, I was scrolling through my email, and I got this email, and I literally at first thought it was fake because I was like, no, there's no way this is real. I got an email from one of the marketing coordinators for Spiegel World inviting me to their May the 4th celebration at Opium, and when I tell you this is a big deal to me, I don't think you understand. So for those of you who are not local to Vegas or haven't had a chance to come see things in Vegas, Spiegel World are a production company who have put on a couple of shows here in Vegas that I am absolutely obsessed with. They did Absinthe, they did Atomic Saloon, they do Opium, which is the one that I've seen the most. And they just do wacky stuff. They bought a whole town in the desert that they're turning into like a circus town. They do cool, weird stuff. The first time I got to see Opium a couple of years ago, and from the second that I saw it, I was like, I want to do the costumes for that. It's so cool. It's this like wacky, raunchy, retro space, like Jetsons burlesque kind of energy show. And it is so cool and so wacky and so wild. And I just have always wanted to work for them. I have applied to work there in the past. I have applied to work in their wardrobe department, and I have also I've applied to be an usher. I'm just like, let me be a part of this wacky world. Like that's been my whole thing this whole time. I've always wanted to work for them. So for me to get invited to something by them, it's kind of a big deal to me. It's kind of I can't comprehend it. It's so cool. Now, considering that I am a seamstress, I am a professional costumer, I do cosplay, I am obsessed with this place, and I wanted to work there so desperately, I kind of feel like it's almost an opportunity for me, like almost a networking thing. And I'm not somebody who like networks, but it's like, if I'm gonna potentially meet anyone who is a part of Spiegel World, I want to make a good impression, right? So obviously I was like, I assume that they're inviting me because they're looking for people to come in costumes. And I tried to think through, okay, what am I gonna wear? So I have done, as of right now, I've done 4 different Star Wars cosplays. The very first Star Wars cosplay that I ever did was a humanized version of BB-8 that I did, honestly, pushing 10 years ago now, which is weirding me out to say. It was very cute, it was very fun, but there is a lot of, it was my first time working with like stretch PVC. There's a lot of stuff on it that I would do completely differently now than when I did it then, but it was one of my first like original designs that I did, and I was really proud of it, and I have a big soft spot for it. But one, because I didn't really know what I was doing in terms of working with those fabrics, it's not the best constructed thing I've ever made. 2, that's from almost 10 years ago. Doesn't fit me anymore. Like, absolutely not, right? So strike 1 off. Second Star Wars cosplay that I ever did was, I did like a Dommy Mommy Captain Phasma. Now, on the one hand, it is very cool, but on the other hand, I kind of feel like wanting to go to something in a relatively like semi-professional capacity. I don't necessarily want to be in basically lingerie, right? And also it's just something that I feel very exposed in. I don't know. It just didn't, I was like, nope, I don't want to wear that either. So that's 2 off the list. Third Star Wars cosplay that I ever did was I did a Kira from Solo cosplay that I made in 2 days right before that movie came out because my followers wouldn't stop saying that they felt like Kira looked like me. When Kira, I don't look anything like Emily Clark. I just wore my hair in a ponytail a lot at that time. And so everyone was like, Cheyenne, it's you. So I made the costume and it did look cool, especially for how little time that I had. I am very proud of it still. But because I made it in, first of all, I don't feel like anybody's gonna recognize a character from Solo, number one. Second of all, because I made that costume in 2 days, I made it with whatever fabrics I had around. And I made it almost entirely out of upholstery vinyl, so it is so freaking hot to wear. So it's another one crossed off of the list. So at that point, the last thing that I had kind of as an option to think about was my Princess Leia. Now, I did a Princess Leia cosplay, I want to say 3 years ago now? I want to say 3 years ago. It was inspired by a piece that my wonderful artist friend Becca Whitaker did of Princess Leia with Afro Puffs instead of the traditional like cinnamon buns. And I saw that and I went, I have to do that. I'm gonna die if I don't do that. So I put together kind of my take on that. So I did these Afro Puffs that I have on right now. They're clip-ons, right? I did these and I made a dress and I kind of tried to go for a little bit closer to like the poster. And I could wear that. There's nothing like terribly wrong with it. But it's not the most immaculately constructed thing that I've ever made because this was back when I was doing like a cosplay a month for my Patreon, and a lot of the time I would rush things and fudge things, and there are some construction things on that aren't like the best things that I've ever done. And I don't know, in my head it's a little bland, a little boring, right? And again, if I go to this, I want to be impressive. I want for someone to be like, oh my gosh, you made that? That's kind of the energy that I want. And also I just think it'd be fun. So I thought about it. I went, what could I make in like a week and a half? Because as I'm saying this, May the 4th is in about 10 days. What could I make in like a week that would be interesting, wouldn't be super complicated to make, would be like very identifiably Star Wars, would maybe show my design abilities, would show my construction abilities, would be a little bit more interesting to look at. And I was like, well, I would like to do a version of Leia, maybe like a party Leia, like, and then I don't know how this is what my brain settled on, but we are gonna make a 1970s like disco Princess Leia. That's the thought process. My main inspiration are these pictures. We want to do kind of a bell-bottom jumpsuit situation. I just got the fabric in. I ordered fabric from an Etsy shop that always gets stuff to me lightning fast. So I was like, I know that if I get it from them, I know I will get the fabric that I want on time and be able to put this together. So look at, I don't even know if you can see on the, you can kind of see. So this is 4 yards of glitter stretch velvet. I think it is going to look so cool and so like lush and vibey. So we're going to make a bell-bottom jumpsuit out of this, and then we're going to put together a belt that's like a corset belt. So I do think that I can do it in the amount of time I have, just based on how long it's taken me to make things like this in the past. But I need to really make it as clean as possible. I need to make it look as beautiful as I possibly can. And I need to also do my jobs because we live in a capitalist society and I have to eat. So this is going to be a bit of a speed build. It might be a little chaotic, but I am pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be really cool. In an ideal world, I would love to even get it done a couple days before May the 4th, because then I could potentially shoot it before May the 4th and then have something to post on May the 4th. That would be nice, but we'll see what happens. I'm not going to hold my breath on that because you know, I might end up working on it that whole day. The event is until the evening. So worst case scenario, I at least am going to ask for that day off from work so I can plan to take that whole day to just crank that out. But we'll see what happens. We're going to make it happen. That's what I'm telling myself right now because I don't really have any other options. It's going to be cool. So let's get started. I don't know what that was.
And so with that, it was time to get started. I am using the same bell-bottom pattern that I used to make my Dazzler costume a couple years back. It's basically just a thin pant pattern that I believe is a simplicity, and then big circle flares at the bottom, like at the shins. And then I am using for the top half of a pattern by APK Fashion 99 on Etsy. It was really simple. I honestly kind of want to make the dress version of it at some point too because it's really cute, but I just pinned, got everything cut out all at once, really simple. There wasn't anything crazy that I needed to do to get everything ready, thankfully.
Okay, so today in Girl Are You Dumb, I literally had enough fabric for everything except for one sleeve. I could cut one sleeve out, but not both sleeves. I tried my best to piece it. I could not figure out a way to do it with what I had left. I forgot how big those bell bottoms are. So I just had to order an entire extra yard of fabric so that I can cut out one sleeve. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. I will use the extra for something else. I don't know. Whatever. Now I'm going to get started on it minus that one sleeve because it's literally one sleeve, one piece. This fabric got here in, I think, 2 days. So 1 yard, that one extra yard should get here in 2 days, which will be, I think, the 1st of May. So it will be tight, but if I have basically everything else put together and I just have to finish and put on one last sleeve, that is acceptable to me. So that's my thought process. I think I'm going to start with the pants because I know how to do the pants. I've made the pants before and they're pretty simple. So I'm going to start with the pants and get the pants put together, and then I'm going to start on the top and get the top put together, get the one sleeve attached, and take a look at it and make sure that it's going to work. And then from there, I'm going to put a zipper in the back, I think. I don't know if I have an invisible zipper, so I might have to go out and get that. And then I figure if I can get the jumpsuit at least mostly put together today, and then on my next day that I have some time, I can put the belt together. I think I'll be in a good spot. But we have, I think, 8 days now, so pray for me.
And with that, we got to work on the machine. I started by just sewing my pieces together. I'm using a straight stretch stitch for this, going relatively slow. Obviously, it's sped up for filming. Then took that over to the serger and finished off all of the edges because we want this to be as clean as possible. And then I ended up adding some wide horsehair braid into the bottom of the bell bottoms because I wanted them to be really big and really exaggerated and really, really disco.
All right, so the full-length mirror in my sewing room is covered in crap right now, so we are in my bedroom to just take a look at how things are looking. So these are not the shoes I'm going to be wearing. I have more 70s like chunky platform boots on the way, so I'll have a little more space. They won't be completely touching the ground like right now. In terms of fit, I'm pretty happy with it. So the velvet is slightly see-through, which I was not expecting. Definitely is a reminder to keep that in mind in terms of whatever shapewear or, undergarments that I'm wearing, that it will be slightly visible if it's not a white or a nude. So just something to think about. But other than that, I'm pretty pleased with them. It's, they don't have a zipper in the back yet, so they obviously aren't staying up, but they will when they have a zipper. I know because I've made these pants for myself several times. I wish you could see on camera how sparkly it is, but you just cannot see it in this light. But trust me, when I am there and the lights are going, I am going to be looking like a disco ball, dude. It's going to be a moment. So I am going to take these off, take a little bit of a break, and then we're going to get started on the bodice.
The bodice was pretty straightforward. I put that together and put an invisible zipper into the bodice going down into the pants so that it could all be one thing. Apparently I didn't get a lot of footage of that, so have me installing this invisible zipper, I guess.
Okay, so this is where it's at right now. Again, I'm gonna have to make sure that I have shapewear on that is nude because this is a little see-through. It's almost giving Padme with the one sleeve. Is it not almost giving Padme a tiny bit? I could have made Padme. That would have been a look. Whatever. We're too far in to go back now. Okay. I'm really happy with the sleeve. Really happy with the way it's looking. I mean, obviously, again, I don't have shapewear on right now. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call that it for the night, because I need one more sleeve. And then tomorrow I'm gonna start on the belt. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm in a pretty good spot. We have about 8 days to go. The bodysuit is almost completed. The hair is taken care of. The belt is not going to take me more than a day, maybe 2. And once the fabric gets here for the other sleeve, that's going to take me almost no time. So I think that I can do it. I think that it's going to work out and that I might even have time to shoot it before May 4th. Maybe. In here. I don't think I'm going to be able to go anywhere, but like, I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work! All right, hey gang, so it is day 2 of the Disco Leia speed build. I just got home from work, had my lunch. I don't know if it'll show up on camera. Yeah, my mouth is blue. I had a fruit roll up. Ignore that, I guess. Or I guess now you probably won't be able to ignore it. Whatever. So, the jumpsuit is in as close to one piece as it's gonna be right now until my other fabric gets here. It is scheduled to get delivered tomorrow. So assuming that it does get delivered tomorrow's Saturday, I have a bunch of work stuff, but then Sunday I am off, and then I also will still have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I will be able to complete the jumpsuit. We don't have to stress about that. The thing that we're going to focus on today is we are going to be making the belt, or at least starting the belt, because that is the thing that's going to make it really clearly a Leia outfit and not just like a white disco suit, in my opinion. So again, this is a speed build. I'm trying to make sure that I'm going with stuff that I know works and I know how to do. So we are going to be making the exact same corset belt pattern that we used as our belt piece for Pearl. So it's a little corset belt pattern by Caroline's Corsets on Etsy. I love her stuff. I have several of her corset patterns and they are all wonderful. Highly, highly recommended. And this one in particular is great because it's really small and it's really simple. I have this white sort of sheer, like shiny fake leather. So we're going to do the fashion layer out of this, and then I'll probably just use couture for the back layer. And we're going to use some glittery pieces to do the silver bits, because again, we're going for like a disco-y over-the-top version. Change the shape of the top of it just a tiny bit, just so it's a little flatter, because Leia's belt is that kind of V shape, but I don't want to do so much that I mess with the structure of it, right? But I think if I can get that cut out today and put together today, then that will make my life way easier. If I can at least get the fashion layer cut out and figure out my shapes for the silver bits and put the silver bits on and then put the back on it, I think that that would be handy. So I have about an hour until I have to go pick my husband up from work, so I'm gonna try to just get stuff cut out right now and then we'll worry about the rest later. Let's go.
And off we go getting started on the Leia corset. Now, I've used this pattern before and it does not have seam allowance. So what I'm doing is I'm tracing it out. It's just easier for me to trace it all in one for this rather than trying to fold it because this fabric is on a weird little roll. And then I am adding, I believe I added about 1/2 inch of seam allowance the whole way around. It just gives me a little bit of extra for sewing and adding it together, putting everything together, just so that I can have a little bit more control over that shape. I like to trace for corsets. I just find it a little bit easier So I cut out my fashion layer, and then I did the inner structure out of a piece of coutil. Coutil's probably a little more than I probably needed to do for a belt like this, but I knew that I had it, so whatever. Then I roughed out my silver pieces. I used this really cool, like, glittery felt that I got from a craft store. So if you look when I turn it around, look at how sparkly that is. I knew it was going to be a lot easier to sew these onto the fashion layer before I added the structure, so I knew I wanted to do this part first. Then I took my zipper foot onto the machine so I could get really, really close to that edge, and very slowly, very carefully attached each of those pieces on their edges the entire way around on that fashion layer, trying to keep it as straight and as clean as I possibly could. Then I added channels for some boning. I've had this like comic book bias tape that my mom made out of a bunch of scraps years ago. This seemed like as good a use for that as any, because what am I going to put this on? Added in my bones. Because this isn't a really, really intense piece of shapewear, I am using cable ties, and then went in, added silver bias tape around the whole thing. Then I turned that under and hand sewed all of it down. It's just a little bit easier and helps keep it a little bit more clean. Then we went in and pressed in our grommets. Because this belt is pretty small, we only did, I believe it was 4, just so you have a little bit of structure. And then it was time for me to add in my big gems. Now, Leia has big domes on her belt, but I decided I was going to do big rhinestones instead. I felt like it would add to the like sparkly disco-y feel of the whole thing.
I'm just doing handheld right now because I don't have a lot of time, so I don't want to set up the camera on the tripod and all that stuff right now. It is currently Tuesday, May the 2nd. I need to have this outfit done by Thursday, May the 4th. But I have good news. My last yard of fabric came, so I can put that last sleeve together. It actually got here on Sunday night, but I was shooting Barbie stuff that day, and then yesterday I had work at one place and then work at another place, and I just did not have time. Tomorrow I have work in the morning and then a gap and then work in the evening. And thankfully on Thursday, I was hoping I wasn't gonna have to do anything that day, but now I have one thing that I have to do from 5 to 7, but thankfully it is around the corner from my place, and the show isn't until 9. So I figure as long as I get everything done either today and like Thursday morning, and I go to that first thing with my hair and makeup done, I can come back here, I can get dressed, and we can go, and I think it's gonna work. But right now I'm just gonna cut that last sleeve out because that is the last big thing that's like keeping me from having this finished. So let's go.
You've seen me do this before. It was really simple. I finally cut that second sleeve out and got it put together. I also took this time to attach the sleeves and turn under the edges of the sleeves so that those would be completely finished.
It is May the 4th. It is 8 in the morning. I have about 12 hours until I have to be at this event. Thankfully, the outfit is almost completely finished. It's wearable at this point. If I had to go with it the way that it was right now, I would be okay. But there are 2 little things that I want to do on it still. So number 1, I am going to hand tack the horsehair braid, which I'm probably just gonna go out into the living room and do because I can sit there and watch TV and do that. And then I have one other thing that's like non-essential. If I have time, I would really like to do that. I think I will leave as a surprise. So you'll see that later if I get to it. I also have to figure out earrings because I did a test run the other day and I realized that it looks really weird without earrings. So I need to go try to find some kind of like silver hoops. And I don't have a purse that makes any sense. So I am going to try to go to the mall later and see if I can find like a Star Wars purse or a silver purse that'll make sense for me to do. I also have work stuff that I have to do today, of course. I have a work thing that I have to do from 5 to 7, and then I am gonna try to get back from that, change, leave by 8, get to the Cosmo, get our tickets. The show starts at 9. So it's going to be tight. It's going to be tough. I think I'm going to do my makeup before that. So then when I get back, I just have to put my costume on and go. And thankfully the thing is like around the corner from my house. But it's going to be a busy day. So let's go.
So first, it was time to go out into the living room and tack down the horsehair. I ended up watching Wishful Drinking, Carrie Fisher's one-woman show, and so I definitely had to pause a couple times to cry. I always forget how long this takes. I thought this was going to take me like 20 minutes. It ended up taking me, I think, an hour. It's absolutely ridiculous, but I got it done. Hey. And then I decided that I had enough time to add my surprise element. I had a little bit left of this glitter felt, so I decided to trace out the Rebel Legion symbol, get that all cut out, and then I decided that that needed to get added to the butt of the jumpsuit because it just needed to happen. I don't know how to explain it. I used the same technique with my zipper foot that I used for the additions on the belt, but I did make sure to stretch the fabric out first so that this would still lay correctly stretched out over my butt because, you know, it needs to stretch there.
Okay, so costume is ready. I found a purse that works. I found earrings that work. Now I have about 45 minutes to do my makeup and also eat something because I realize I haven't really done that in a hot second. I should have just gotten McDonald's or something, but I didn't think about it. So I'm microwaving some pot stickers that I will just kind of nibble on while I'm waiting for the rest of my like skincare to absorb in. I have to go pick my husband up at 4. Because then at 5, I have to go and teach my class. And then after that, I have to change. So I have to do my makeup in the next like 45 minutes. I think I know what I'm going to do. I kind of just want to go for like a silver, glittery, like kind of Donna Summer energy thing. And I think I can do that relatively fast. And thankfully, I just have to put my own hair into like messy buns. So I think I can do it. But I am still a tiny bit stressed. So just pot stickers. I'll be back. Okay, and I just stuffed 6 sad, mushy, barely properly microwaved dumplings into my mouth. I think that'll be enough to hold me over. Because the nice thing is, the event we're going to tonight is gonna have free pizza. And I know I like, free pizza, but like the pizzas that this place makes are incredible. So I'm gonna eat. It's not that I'm not gonna eat, but I don't want to be super full before I get into this costume. And also, I feel just kind of gross. Oh, on top of everything, my period started today. And I'm in a white, skin-tight costume. I think I have everything under control, but it's just like, of course. So, whatever. And then the goal is for like a really sparkly, kind of blown out silver eye, maybe a little touch of blue in there. So I think I'm gonna start with Trixie Mattel's Nighttime Realness. There is a really good kind of silvery and like a white in there. And then there's also a gray. So I think between those, I can kind of work out the shape that I wanna do. And then from there, I have some just NYX silver glitter. I have some glitter glue. I have, I might also use some of this, like that pink glitter out of the Kimchi Trixie BFF palette because it's a really pretty glitter. So I might throw a little bit of that in there if I feel like it needs it. But that's my thought process. I kind of want to try to put as much glitter into this look as I possibly can, partially because I'm going for like disco energy, but also this is a pretty well-known thing at this point. I don't think that I'm telling you anything revolutionary if you're watching this, because I'm sure you have some interest. But Carrie Fisher, who I look up to a lot and who I really love. Obviously, I like her in Star Wars, but I really love her one-woman show, Wishful Drinking. And I really love her memoirs and stuff. And she used glitter kind of as one of her tools for coping with being bipolar. Anytime that she was feeling bad, like she said that basically the worse she felt, the more glitter she would put on, which is very relatable to me because I feel like that's also kind of how I am. I'm like, well, I feel like garbage. I'm going to put on the most like rainbow-tastic, like pretty princess outfit that I can think of. So it's kind of the same energy in my mind. And like if she saw people having a rough day, she would put glitter on them. Like glitter was one of her things that kind of was her trying to like kind of get through and see like the light and stuff. And I really admire that, and I really am inspired by that. So I want to kind of have on as much glitter as is humanly possible, kind of to honor that about Carrie. Yeah, I think that works, huh? Okay, we're back. Lashes are on, cheeks are on. I'm gonna just put a little bit of that same silver glitter as like an extra highlight here. I've already powdered. This is the part that I'm excited about. So I don't always go for like bougie products, but I decided to splurge a little bit today because I was like, I want something that I can kind of put all over to be like really shimmery and pretty. And I ended up getting this, so it's the Fenty Beauty Diamond Balm. It is specifically like an all over body shimmer called How Many Carats? Look at that. It's so pretty. And I'm literally just gonna take this and put it all over my face so that it is just a glittery, shimmery, like, I'm trying to look completely glittered out. But now it's about to be time for me to have to go and get my husband. So I guess I'll do my hair when I get back.
Got home from picking my husband up, got my hair put together, and here she is, Disco Leia in all of her sparkly, sparkly glory. Like, guys, I don't know if the footage does enough justice to just how shimmery and glittery and beautiful I felt this night. Like, I felt so good. It's obviously not the most elaborate costume I've ever made, but I'm really, really proud of me for having put this together in just a couple of days. I felt so cute. I felt so nice. People were coming up to me all night complimenting my outfit. I got to be like, oh, thank you, I made it, which is the best feeling in the entire world. We got there a little early, so we grabbed a cocktail in the ski lounge that's attached to the restaurant, and then we went and got to see the show. They've actually revamped the show since the last time I saw it, so some of these acts were completely new to me. And guys, if you ever have a chance to go see Opium, take it. It is just such an incredible show. The performers are all so incredibly talented. I was just gobsmacked, like truly. And then afterwards, there was a reception with food and treats and stuff. I got shared by the Opium Instagram, which was really cool. I made a couple of connections, definitely had people complimenting me on my outfit. I definitely think that it may have helped with some of those connections. And overall, I just had a really great time. So I'm really glad that I made it happen. Thanks so much to Spiegel World for having me. May the 4th be with you, everybody.